Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! It happened 600 years ago. It was the most infamous, dreadful disease the world has ever seen. A plague which wiped out half of Europe. Millions died horribly as it swept across the land like a wind. And they called it the Black Death. And this is the Black Rat, bringer of the Black Death. Or was it? And what was the Black Death anyway? It was a dreadful disease, and children, as often is the case, were the first to go. A nursery rhyme which they still sing today describes the effects it had on its victims.
Ring a roses.
Rashes and huge boils covered the person's body.
A pocket full of posies.
Sweet-smelling flowers were spread around to try and stop the vile, stinking illness infecting others. The fevered victim coughed up blood and sneezed violently. And then, after hours of suffering, they died. History books say the Black Death was a disease called the plague. Initially, no one knew how it got here, but 100 years ago, scientists thought they'd found the culprit, the black rat. There are two types of rat in Britain. This is a brown rat. They're found practically everywhere. Sewers, grain stores, rubbish dumps. But they weren't in the country at the time of the Black Death. So they're obviously innocent. And that means you're free to go. But the black rat, which spends most of its time in houses, was here. So it copped all the blame for spreading the plague. Black rats originally came from India. It's not the rats, but the fleas living on them which carry the disease. If a person then gets bitten, they catch the plague as well. And the trouble is, rats love living near people, wherever they go. Black rats are great travellers. That's how they got their other name, the ship rat. They first came to Britain over 2,000 years ago with the Romans, and they've been stowing away on ships ever since. And it's thought that is how the plague got here. The rats shared the sailors' food and cabins. They had some vile habits. On long sea voyages, when food was scarce, sailors would sometimes wake up to find rats gnawing the skin off their feet. Ugh, disgusting! No wonder they've got a bad reputation. Get off! It became a hated animal, condemned to a life of nightmare and horror. You are a menace to the well-being of mankind. You are degraded and filthy in your habits, a carrion eater and a cannibal. You deserve no mercy, and we shall proceed to your extermination with no conscience. Black rats were hunted and killed wherever they were found. They are now the rarest mammals in Britain. But do they really deserve this terrible reputation? Not according to Dr. Graham Twigg. He says the Black Death wasn't the plague, and the black rat couldn't possibly have caused it.
Well, the black rat is a tropical animal, and the Black Death took place during the coldest part of the last 1,000 years. The black rat likes warmth. It likes to live in warm dwellings, close to people. It doesn't like to be out of doors in a cold climate. And if you're going to get plague, the way it was in the Black Death, you would have needed rats right across the countryside and across the towns and the villages, and I don't think that was possible. In my view, the rat is completely innocent. If rats didn't cause the Black Death, and it wasn't the plague, what was it? Some people reckon it was another disease altogether, which is very like plague, but spreads even faster. It's called anthrax, and it's got nothing to do with rats. I'm terribly sorry, old rat, but there appears to have been a bit of a miscarriage of justice here. So I guess they're free to go. I mean, anyone could have made the mistake. Well, bring back the rats. Bring back the rats.